Very nice, very divisive. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. Before I get into this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Coming out of WWE Elimination Chamber, all of the talk is not surrounding Randy Orton or Rhea Ripley, the two actual winners of the Chamber. All of the talk coming out of this show is surrounding one man, and that one man happens to be Danhausen. Coming into this show, WWE has been hyping up the reveal of this crate. For weeks, they have been talking about how it is going to be unveiled. Who or what is in that crate at the Elimination Chamber? And I think in the beginning, when we first got this angle starting to roll, I think many people started to, have their imagination run wild. And I think in the beginning, the early favorite for who was going to be revealed out of that crate was going to be Chris Jericho. But I think after it was revealed by the Dirt Sheets that his AEW contract has been frozen, I think all the attention started to go into the direction of Danhausen. Now, and I'm going to give credit where it's due. I'm going to credit my guy, the Solid Monster, when he said, and this is probably the biggest, giveaway that probably went over a lot of people's heads, was once we started to get guys in backstage segments, talking about the crate, guys like R-Truth and Angel Garza, that should have been a tall tale sign that the person who was going to be revealed in this crate was not going to be some main event level talent. And going into this show, we're at a point where, at least in my mind, since we're full steam ahead in the middle of WrestleMania season, this is the last PLE before WrestleMania, I have the mindset of every single segment and every single minute that they produce WWE television, everything should be important and everything should be reflecting of the time period that we are in the WWE calendar, and that is we're heading towards the biggest show of the year. So every single minute, every single segment counts, and nothing should be wasted. So with that being said, going into the show, in my mind, thinking that it's more than likely we're going to get Danhausen coming out of that crate, I automatically disliked that idea. And I thought also, too, due to the fact that Danhausen only had 24 matches in total in AEW and only 3 matches on Dynamite and hasn't been showcased on AEW television in about probably close to 2 years, I didn't think that he was going to get that small rub that guys like Ricky Saints or Ethan Page or Jade Cargill got going into their transition from AEW to WWE, where they have some form of notoriety because they have been showcased on AEW television, at least for different spurts of their time period there on a regular basis. And I honestly think that there's, people talk about, and I think there's a lot of this going on online because we're chronically thinking that we're in this bubble that's huger than it is, where I think that people kind of overestimate the crossover between the two audiences. I think there's far more likely people who are AEW fans that watch WWE than reverse. So with Danhausen not being on the show for such a long time, I thought there was a good percentage of chance that people weren't going to know who the guy was once he showed up on that show. And once he got revealed out of that crate, he got that initial positive reaction. But by the time this segment was over, the guy was getting booed out of the building. And with Danhausen, is he going to sell some merchandise? Is he going to sell some shirts? At least in the initial beginning, yes, I do believe that that is what's going to take place. But the way I kind of view this is we're hyping up this angle and this reveal of a guy on the last PLE heading into WrestleMania, where we all know that there's a ceiling for this guy and his character. If you ever watched a Danhausen match, this guy, you're never going to confuse this guy for Shawn Michaels, right, in the ring. So for me, it's like, okay, we're hyping up this reveal for a guy who's more than likely going to be the cheaper, younger, whiter replacement for R-Truth. And I think that that is a disservice for him. And I think it was a not necessarily the best usage of time on that show for WWE, due to the timing that we are in on their calendar. I think you set the guy up to fail once you revealed that he was the guy on the crate on this show, because you know how people are when it comes to these different like mysterious angles. People are always, hyping things up in their mind, going left and thinking things like, man, who could it be? Could it be Chris Jericho? Could it be The Rock? Could it be, the return of Steve Austin? Who knows? There was people even floating around the idea of, could it be Vince McMahon? So I think that all these things, all these different factors of, there's not a lot of people who are probably going to know who he is. People are probably going to be disappointed because it is Danhausen and it's not this guy who they already know is an established star. And it wasn't a good use of time for WWE or placement having him debut on that PLE. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Were you disappointed by the angle? Are you happy that Danhausen's in WWE? Do you think that I am overreacting? Let me know in the comment section. Please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. I am Kevin Zwicker. I'm out.